Hello everyone and welcome to Learning English with Bob. Today we are going to talking about self-introduction. Tell me about yourself. Now, to some of you, this topic may seem very basic, but learning to introduce yourself properly is really important. You might need to introduce yourself without any forewarning, so you need to be prepared. You might need to introduce yourself in your English class or in a new interview. You might need to introduce yourself at a new job or at a new hobby or a business activity. You may even need to introduce yourself at a big event or conversation in front of thousands of people. I feel very nervous and anxious when I have to introduce myself to a large group of people. Especially, I'm not an active English speaker, so it's not easy for me. In order to successfully introduce yourself, you might have your self-introduction pre-written and learned. You have to be prepared. In this video, I'm going to guide you through this process. At the end of this section, you will have a complete self-introduction that is really to use and ready for you to learn off by heart. I encourage you to share your introductions in the comment section down below so the community and I may assist you and correct you. Right, let's get on with the lesson. So let's start with the basic of a self-introduction. The very first thing that you will need to say when introduce yourself is a greeting. Now, you can have formal greetings or you can have informal greetings. It depends where you are, the situation you are in. Let's start with formal greetings. Obviously, hello can be both formal and informal, but it's fine to use it in a formal situation. You also have good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Make sure you pay attention to what time of day it is. Now, that's about information greetings. It's really important for you to find one that you feel comfortable with. There are lots of information greetings like, hey, what's up? What's good? For example, on the telephone, no one can really see you when you are speaking on the telephone. You can say, my name is, or my name's. Or if you are in conversation, then you might want to use this is Bob. On the telephone, I will normally say, hey, this is Bob speaking, or this is Bob. Next, let's talk about location. Where you're from and where you live in. There are many kinds of this. I'm going to start with the most basic of description your location. Firstly, we have I'm from and then the place name. I'm from Taiwan, or I'm British, I'm English, or if you are from somewhere that is quite far from the place where you are introducing yourself, you can say, I come from, and then you can name the place. If you want to say where you grew up, you can say, I was born and raised in the place name. I was born and raised in Taiwan. If you were born in one place but grew up in different place, you can say, I was born in Taiwan but raised in US. If you want to say that you are from one place but are now living in another place, you can say, I grew up in LA but now living in New York. If you want to say how long you have lived in a certain place, you can say, I've been living in London for 3 years, or I've spent the past few years in Paris. Now, let's talk about some other options that you can add on your self-introduction. A very important option is your position and your company. For example, I work at Google in marketing department. You can say, I work at or I work for You can also say, I'm a manager at Starbucks. I'm in a position at company. Again, that at can also be replaced with for. If you just want to get general idea about your work, you can say, I work in general area. I work in sales. If you want to get the specific past position, you can say, I work as deputy manager. Oh, you might also want to mention your qualifications, especially if you are introduce yourself in a job interview. If you want to say that you are close to graduation, you can say, I'm about to graduate. You could also say, I'm a subject graduate. I'm a marketing graduate. Or I have BA degrees in marketing. Or just a BA in marketing. If you want to talk about courses of other achievements, you can say, I correctly take a course in subject math. If you want to say that you finished a course, you can say, I have completed a 72-hour course in or on subject, a 72-hour subject course, a 3-day subject course. Now, if you want to talk about experience, about your previous job, you can say, I have number of years of experience in field. I have 3 years of experience. You don't necessarily have to say field. You can say, I have 10 years of sales experience, or I have 10 years of experience in sales. You can also say, I've worked in field for however long you've worked there. I've worked in the accounting field for 3 years, or I've worked in accounting for 3 years. Now, you may want to talk about your family. Obviously, there are no more things like, I have a brother, I have a sister, I have a mom, and I have a dad. But what if you want to get a little bit more information and also show off your language skills? One common mistake I heard my students make it where they are trying to talk about how large or how small their family is. They want to tell me how many family members they are in their family. I often heard they say, we are 5 in our family. Is it correct in English? In English, we say, I'm from a family of number. I'm from a family of 4, or we are a family of 4. This is a really important one for you to remember. It's a mistake I heard very frequently. If you want to talk about how many brothers or sisters you have, you can say, I'm one of 4 sisters. Or even if you are already talking about families, you can just say, I'm one of 4. And they will understand you. If you have no brothers or sisters, you can say, I'm one only child. I'm an only child. You might want to talk about hobbies. You have all the usual phrase like, I really like running. I really enjoy tennis. A really good phrase, I think, is, I'm a big fan of. I'm a huge fan of basketball. You can also say, I'm a kid and then a noun. For example, I'm a runner, or I'm a tiny player. Now, it's important that you need to know how to say its age. We have the basic one. I'm 50 years old. We can shorten it down. I'm 50. If you don't want to specify your age, you can say, I'm in my early, mid, or late, and then your decade. As well, if you are really young, I'm in my mid-20s. She is her early teens. He is in his late 40s. You might also hear people say, she's a 20-something marketing graduate, or He is 13-something accountant. There, if you don't know their age or you think it would be rude to try and guess their age, you can say, I have been a lot of events. I have been to a lot of conversations, and I've had to introduce myself in a lot of English classes. To suddenly think of an interesting fact about yourself is really, really hard. Finally, I highly recommend that you have a fun fact prepared. Think about an interesting fear, a weird like or dislike. A good one is always your pet or a strange achievement. Share your fun fact about yourself, but this is optional. I know how horrible a fun fact can be. Now, I will show you an example. My name's Bob and I am 50 years old. Marketing graduate from Princeton University. I now work as a teacher and I'm a big fan of running and fitness classes. So much better, so much shorter, so much more natural. See, if you can condense your introduction, don't forget to connect with me on Create Club channel. See you next time. I'm Bob. Bye bye.